You don't deserve a place in this family. That was the sentence that snapped the last thread holding her world together. Spoken by the very people who had smiled at her wedding, toasted her future, and now stood ready to tear her life apart. And in the center of it all was Evelyn Carter, a woman who had no idea that betrayal had been growing right beside her, disguised as love, loyalty, and friendship. Hello everyone and welcome to Veil of Hearts, a place where love finds its way through the quietest corners of the soul. Today, let's listen to the story of a woman who lost everything in a single moment, only to rise stronger than anyone ever expected. Evelyn Carter knew something was wrong long before she had the courage to name it. It wasn't one big moment, but a dozen small ones, each one sharper than the last, slicing slowly through the life she thought she understood. It started with Lucas ignoring her calls. Not once, not twice. Night after night, she would dial his number at 10 p.m., then again at 10:30, then again at 11. Each call rang until it died. Each voicemail felt colder than the last. And when he finally picked up, his voice carried the irritation of a man being bothered by someone he no longer prioritized. One night, Evelyn waited until the clock hit 11:04. Her voice trembled not from fear, but from the weight of pretending everything was fine. "Lucas, where are you?" she asked quietly. "It's late." He didn't hesitate, didn't soften. "Work. Don't ask me pointless questions." Just like that. Sharp. Final. Spoken like a husband who had already placed distance between them and didn't bother hiding it. She tried again, hoping for some trace of the man she once knew. "Can you at least tell me when you'll be home?" Lucas exhaled loudly as if she was a burden. "When I'm done." "Stop pushing." The call ended before she could say another word. That was the moment Evelyn realized silence can hurt more than shouting. But Lucas wasn't the only one acting strange. Sabrina Miles, her closest friend since high school, the woman Evelyn trusted enough to bring into Lucas's company, had begun avoiding her too. Sabrina stopped dropping by on Sundays, stopped texting first, stopped laughing the way she used to. When Evelyn invited her for coffee, Sabrina forced a smile that never reached her eyes. "I can't today. Or this week. I've been busy." "With what?" Evelyn asked gently. Sabrina blinked too fast. "Just things." It wasn't an answer. It was an escape. And every time Evelyn tried to catch Sabrina's gaze, Sabrina looked away like the truth was written somewhere in Evelyn's eyes and she couldn't bear to see it. But the worst blows didn't come from Lucas or Sabrina. They came from the people who had hated her long before they had a reason to. One evening, when Evelyn stopped by the Harrington home to drop off a document Lucas forgot, Eleanor, her mother-in-law, didn't even pretend to be civil. Eleanor looked her straight in the eye and said, "This family needs someone with real value, Evelyn. Someone who adds something, not takes it." The words hit harder because they weren't whispered. They weren't sugar-coated. They were a verdict. Evelyn swallowed hard, refusing to let her voice shake. "I've stood by Lucas since the beginning. You know that." Eleanor answered with a dismissive smile. "Standing by isn't enough. Men like Lucas outgrow women who stay comfortable." It was cruel. But cruelty had always been Eleanor's preferred language. Victoria, Lucas's younger sister, didn't bother hiding her disdain either. One afternoon, as Evelyn waited for Lucas outside a meeting, Victoria strutted past her with a smirk. "You might want to keep an eye on him," she said sweetly. "Rich men don't stay loyal out of pity." Evelyn frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" Victoria shrugged, enjoying every second of the tension she was creating. "Just saying you should appreciate him while you still have him." It was a taunt, a warning, an insult disguised as concern. Evelyn didn't respond. She couldn't. The words didn't just bruise, they lingered, echoing long after Victoria walked away. And slowly, painfully, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Lucas's phone always turned off at night. Sabrina always had an excuse. Eleanor never missed a chance to belittle her. Victoria treated her marriage like a ticking clock. Evelyn tried to breathe through it, tried to convince herself she was imagining things, but the truth had already begun tightening around her chest. Something was shifting. Something was cracking. Something was breaking. And deep down, Evelyn felt the unmistakable dread that comes before a storm. The sense that someone she loved was hiding a truth large enough to destroy everything. Evelyn didn't wake up one morning and decide to become suspicious. Suspicion was something that grew inside her slowly, like a bruise that kept darkening every time Lucas shut her out, every time Sabrina avoided her eyes, every time Eleanor whispered something venomous that felt a little too deliberate. But the night Evelyn finally acted on her instincts began with something simple, something painfully ordinary. Lucas stepped into the shower. He always left his phone on the counter, screen lit, notifications buzzing like restless insects. Normally, Evelyn respected his privacy. She believed trust mattered more than temporary discomfort. She had never been the type to snoop. But trust only works when two people protect it. And Lucas had stopped protecting anything long ago. Her hands shook, not from guilt, but from the ache of everything she feared she was about to confirm. She opened his phone using the passcode she once knew by heart. Not because he told her, but because she had watched him type it hundreds of times before he decided to change it. And when the screen lit up, the truth began unraveling. There were messages. Dozens of them. Hidden in an app Lucas thought she wouldn't recognize. She copied everything, screenshots, message chains, audio attachments, sending them quietly to her own cloud storage. Her fingers moved faster than her breathing, faster than her doubt. When she finally heard the water shut off, she placed the phone exactly where it had been. By the time Lucas walked out, towel around his waist, Evelyn was already sitting on the bed, pretending not to feel her heart breaking. "Everything okay?" he asked, indifferent. She smiled. Of course. It was the kind of lie that tasted like blood. The next morning, she contacted a private investigator. Not just any investigator. A former federal analyst known for uncovering financial dishonesty. She didn't need someone who stalked cheating spouses with blurry cameras. She needed someone who could peel back every layer Lucas thought she'd never see. 3 days later she got a message. "We need to meet." Her pulse hammered as she arrived at the small office where the investigator waited with a sealed file in his hand. "You should sit," he said gently. Evelyn didn't. "Just tell me." He placed the file on the table. "Your husband, he's been meeting someone regularly. Checking into hotels under an alias." He paused. "The woman is Sabrina Miles." Evelyn didn't breathe. Couldn't. He pushed the envelope toward her. "These are the photos." Her fingers trembled as she opened the file. Picture after picture. Lucas touching Sabrina's waist, Sabrina leaning into his chest, Lucas pressing a kiss to her hair. Each moment captured casually, carelessly, like two people who had nothing to hide. There were audio recordings too. The investigator clicked play without comment. Lucas's voice echoed through the small room. "Baby, she's clueless. I'll figure out how to handle her." "Baby." He called Sabrina baby. Evelyn closed her eyes, her chest tightening as though someone had gripped her heart and squeezed until it couldn't beat properly. Another recording. Sabrina's voice, soft, guilty yet not guilty enough. "What if she finds out?" Lucas replied with a low chuckle, the same laugh he used to reserve for Evelyn when he was trying to calm her. "She won't. And if she does, I'll deal with her. She's not a problem. I'll deal with her." The words hit Evelyn like a slap. Not because they were cruel, but because they were said so effortlessly, so casually, as if she were a piece of furniture he planned to move out of the way. But the worst wasn't even Lucas. The worst was the text message the investigator placed in front of her next. It was from Eleanor. "Don't let Evelyn ruin our plan. She's too soft to fight you. Just make sure she's gone before the board meeting." Evelyn stared at the message, struggling to breathe. Her mother-in-law had never liked her, but to plot against her? To involve herself in Lucas and Sabrina's betrayal? The investigator hesitated before sliding one last printed message across the desk. It was Lucas again. To Sabrina. "I'll get rid of her soon. Trust me. Get rid of her." Like she was nothing. Like she hadn't built his career with her own hands. Like she hadn't sacrificed years of her life to help him succeed. Evelyn felt something inside her crack. Not her heart, but the illusion that held her world together. The investigator spoke gently. "I can gather more if you need." She shook her head. "No. I need something else." "What?" Her voice steadied, iron forming beneath the hurt. "I need proof of everything he's done. Not just the affair. I want his financial records, his business dealings, his hidden accounts. If there's something illegal, I want to know. The investigator studied her for a long moment. You're preparing for a war. No, she said calmly. The war already started. I was just the last one to know. 3 days later, Evelyn met with a lawyer, a woman with sharp eyes and a sharper reputation. The lawyer looked through the first stack of evidence quietly, then raised her head. This is more than enough to destroy his public image. Evelyn leaned in, her voice low, steady, controlled. I don't want to destroy his image. I want the truth documented. Every detail. Every lie. Every betrayal. I want nothing overlooked. The lawyer nodded slowly. You want everything? Yes, Evelyn whispered. Everything. There was a pause, a brief one, before the lawyer reached for her pen. Then let's begin. At that moment, Evelyn understood something profound. Pain can break you, but betrayal can build something far stronger. She was no longer the woman waiting by the phone. No longer the wife hoping for honesty. No longer the friend defending someone who never deserved her loyalty. She was becoming someone else. Someone sharper. Someone unshakable. This wasn't Evelyn's breaking point. It was the moment she started gathering ammunition. Evelyn didn't explode. She didn't confront anyone. She didn't collapse under the weight of betrayal. She did what no one expected. She became quiet. Quiet enough to think. Quiet enough to plan. Quiet enough to strike without ever raising her voice. The first step of her counterattack began the moment she sat down with Lucas's business files. They were all organized in the same binder he had used for years, confident that she was too trusting, too gentle, too devoted to ever question him. He truly believed she wouldn't know where to start. But he had forgotten something important. She had built half of this company with him. She knew the accounts, the vendors, the early deals, the shortcuts he used to take before success got to his head. He had mistaken her silence for ignorance. Now that silence was turning into precision. She opened the first folder and scanned the numbers line by line, page by page. Her eyes were sharper than they had ever been. Her handwriting, once soft and elegant, turned cold and decisive as she drew a red line through the first suspicious transfer. A transfer to a consulting agency that didn't exist 3 months ago. Red line. Another transaction dated on a weekend when the company wasn't operating. Red line. A sudden large withdrawal with no project attached. Red line. Each mark felt like cutting a thread Lucas never thought she would see unravel. There was no emotion, only clarity. Betrayal had turned her into a strategist. Hours later, Lucas's name flashed across her phone screen. She pressed record, then answered. Hey Evelyn, he said. His voice was casual, too relaxed. Listen, I'll be home late again tonight. Big meeting I can't miss. What meeting? She asked evenly. He hesitated. Just 1 second, but enough. Investors, he said quickly. We're reviewing some contracts. It's complicated. You're in the meeting now? She asked. Walking in, he snapped, growing irritated. I don't have time for questions. Evelyn didn't argue. She didn't accuse. She simply saved the recording, labeled it, and added it to her growing file of evidence. Every lie was now a tool. Every word he spoke was a thread she could pull later. She whispered to herself, if you insist on lying, I'll insist on documenting. The next step required more than courage, it required precision. That's why she contacted a forensic accountant. When he reviewed the transactions she had marked, his eyebrows lifted with professional interest. These red flags are significant, he said. If these patterns continue through the rest of his accounts, your husband may be in violation of multiple financial regulations. Evelyn didn't react. Can you trace everything? Every inconsistency, every shell account, every transfer that shouldn't exist. He nodded slowly. It will take time, but yes. Good, she said. I don't want anything overlooked. She signed the contract on the spot. Her signature didn't shake. Her hand was steady. It wasn't just hiring an expert, it was hiring truth. Next came her attorney. The woman skimmed the documents Evelyn brought, her expression unreadable until she reached the audio recordings. This, the lawyer said, tapping the transcript, is extremely useful. Combined with the financial irregularities, you could secure a very favorable outcome. Not favorable, Evelyn corrected quietly. Comprehensive. The lawyer lifted her gaze. Then we'll gather everything. Financial, marital, behavioral. If he's hiding something, we'll find it. Thank you, Evelyn replied. I'm done being the only honest person in the room. She signed her retainer agreement with the same calm resolve. This wasn't fear. This was strategy forming step by step like a map only she could follow. But there was one more person she needed to contact. Someone who owed her far more than an apology. Sabrina. Evelyn stared at her name for a long moment before pressing call. The ringtone felt endless until Sabrina finally answered, cheerful and artificial. Evelyn. Hey. I wasn't expecting. Sabrina, Evelyn said, her tone cold enough to silence her instantly. How much do you owe me? A beat of stunned quiet. Then Sabrina stammered. The money, Evelyn said. The loans. Every dollar you begged me for. Every transfer I made to help you stay afloat. Tell me the total. I don't remember the exact number, Sabrina whispered, her voice trembling. You remember, Evelyn replied, her tone flat. Say it. Sabrina struggled for air. Evelyn, please, I can explain. 40,000, Evelyn said. The exact amount you signed for. Twice. Silence filled the line. Not guilt, fear. I want it back, Evelyn continued. All of it. Evelyn, please don't do this, Sabrina pleaded. I swear you're misunderstanding everything. No, Evelyn said sharply. I'm finally understanding everything. A shaky breath came from the other end. I'll pay you back, I swear. Just give me time. You have less time than you think, Evelyn answered, then ended the call without waiting for more excuses. It wasn't anger. It wasn't revenge. It was reclamation. For years she had helped Sabrina out of kindness. Now she wanted that kindness returned. Not because she needed the money, but because Sabrina needed to understand that every bridge she'd burned had consequences. By midnight, Evelyn's strategy was complete. A stack of files marked in red. Recordings of Lucas's lies neatly organized. Contracts signed with a forensic accountant and a lawyer. A message sent to the woman who betrayed her. A message that said in every possible way, you will not walk over me again. This wasn't Evelyn falling apart. This was Evelyn rebuilding herself with every deliberate step. She closed the final folder and whispered into the quiet, not as a broken wife, but as a woman who had finally chosen herself. They made their moves in silence. Now I'm making mine. And for the first time in months her heart felt steady. Not because the pain was gone, but because she was finally doing something with it. Evelyn expected the dinner to be tense, but she didn't expect the ambush to be this bold. She walked in with quiet determination, carrying a sealed envelope tucked beneath her arm. It held the truth, cold, undeniable, explosive, but she didn't intend to open it unless she had to. She came to listen, to observe, to give them a final chance to show even a shred of decency. They didn't. The moment Lucas stood up, the room stiffened. He cleared his throat dramatically, like a man proud of a performance he had rehearsed in front of a mirror. I want to make an announcement, he said loud enough for every relative, every colleague, every so-called friend to hear. His eyes landed on Evelyn with rehearsed pity. I want a divorce. Effective today. A few gasps echoed, but far too many people nodded knowingly, as if they had been waiting for this moment. Evelyn didn't respond. She didn't blink. She simply rested her hands in her lap and watched the show unfold. Before she had the chance to speak, Sabrina stood up beside Lucas, hand trembling, but not with guilt. With excitement. She lifted her left hand into the air, revealing a ring Evelyn recognized immediately. A ring Lucas once asked Evelyn to help him design for a future anniversary. Sabrina smiled shakily. And we're getting engaged. Voices erupted. Congratulations, giggles, whispers dripping with judgment. One woman whispered, finally, he left her. Another added, honestly, they never looked right together. Evelyn listened to every comment. Not a single one cut her. Pain had already carved out the deepest wounds weeks ago. Now there was only clarity. Then Eleanor, Lucas's mother, grabbed a glass of red wine and walked right up to Evelyn. No hesitation. No shame. Only bitter delight. Without warning, she tilted the glass and poured the wine over Evelyn's shoulder, letting it drip down her arm. "Get out," Eleanor hissed. "Leave my family and my home. You were never good enough." The table erupted into awkward laughter, a few gasps, and far too much satisfaction. Still, Evelyn didn't move. Instead, she lifted the envelope, placed it calmly on the table, and opened it with slow, deliberate precision. Lucas's smug expression faltered. Sabrina's smile dropped. Eleanor stiffened. Evelyn pulled out the first photograph, Lucas and Sabrina kissing in a hotel hallway, and let it fall onto the table. It landed with a sound far louder than paper should make. The room went silent instantly. Then another photo. And another. Each image a documented moment of betrayal. Each one a nail in the coffin Lucas had built for himself. Evelyn looked directly at Lucas, her voice steady. "You should have been more careful with your timestamps. They don't match the meetings you claim to be attending." Sabrina's breathing shattered into sharp, panicked inhales. But Evelyn wasn't done. She took out printed text messages, unfolding them slowly before reading the first one aloud. "Lucas to Sabrina," she recited. "She won't be a problem. I'll get rid of her soon." People who had been whispering earlier now leaned forward, shock painted across their faces. Evelyn read another. "Lucas to Sabrina. Baby, once she's out, we can move fast." Sabrina gasped as though the words physically struck her. "Oh my God. Lucas, you told me." "Don't." Evelyn cut her off calmly. "We're just getting started." She picked up a final sheet. "This one is my favorite. A message from Eleanor." Eleanor visibly paled. Evelyn read it with perfect clarity. "Don't let Evelyn ruin our plan. She's too soft to fight you. Make sure she's gone before the board meeting." The room exploded. Not with noise but with stunned, horrifying stillness. Every guest stared at the trio Lucas, Sabrina, Eleanor, like villains exposed under harsh light. Lucas opened his mouth. "Evelyn, you're twisting." "No," Evelyn said softly. "I'm finally untwisting." "The lies." Sabrina broke first. Tears streamed down her face as she sank into her chair. "Evelyn, I'm so sorry. I didn't know he said those things about you. I didn't know about the messages from his mom. I swear I never wanted to hurt you." Evelyn looked at her with a calm that Sabrina could never match. "Your apologies come very late." Sabrina reached out instinctively, desperate for some kind of forgiveness. "Please, please don't hate me." "Hate you?" Evelyn repeated with a faint, tired laugh. "No, Sabrina. Hate is too heavy. I'm done carrying anything for you." Sabrina sobbed. "I'll do anything to make this right." Evelyn leaned in slightly, her voice a quiet blade. "From now on, address me correctly." Sabrina blinked through tears. "What?" "You will call me," Evelyn said slowly, "the woman who helped you, the woman who covered your rent, paid your tuition, lent you money you promised to repay." A few guests exchanged shocked glances. They had no idea Sabrina owed her anything. Evelyn continued, "And starting today, you will repay every dollar. No delays. No excuses." Sabrina covered her face, humiliated. "Evelyn, please." 40,000, Evelyn said calmly. "I expect full repayment. With receipts. Consider it the first responsible action you'll take in your new engagement." Lucas stepped forward, voice raised. "You can't talk to her like..." Evelyn held up her hand. He stopped mid-sentence, as if something in her expression finally made him realize he no longer had power over her. "Lucas," she said softly, "you tried to break me quietly, but you forgot something important." "What?" he snapped. "I don't shatter. I record." The entire table froze. "And tonight," she said, gathering her documents, "I didn't come to fight. I came to end things properly." Evelyn stepped back from the table, leaving her evidence spread across the linen like the ruins of the lies they built together. "If you want a divorce," she said, "you'll get one. But not on your terms." She turned, her voice steady as steel. "You started this ambush. I'm finishing it." And as she walked away, the crowd didn't whisper about her anymore. They whispered about them, Lucas, Sabrina, and Eleanor, exposed, cornered, and suddenly very, very small. The room was still buzzing from the mess of exposed betrayals when Evelyn returned to the table, not to argue, not to defend herself, but to deliver the final blow. Lucas tried to regain control, straightening his posture like a man who still believed authority belonged to him. "You've embarrassed yourself," he muttered. "This tantrum doesn't change anything." Evelyn didn't even look at him. Instead, she placed a thick folder on the table. This time it wasn't photos or text messages. It was far worse. "Lucas," she said calmly, "I own 40% of the company." He froze. "And," she continued, her voice smooth and controlled, "I already withdrew my capital investment this morning." The color drained from his face. "You what?" "Evelyn, you can't just—" "I can," she replied. "And I did." A stunned murmur swept across the guests. Several of Lucas's business partners instantly pulled out their phones. Evelyn slid a printed statement across the table. The board was notified at 9 a.m. They approved the withdrawal unanimously. "You didn't notice because you were too busy planning this little performance." Sabrina covered her mouth, horrified. Lucas grabbed the document with trembling hands, scanning the signatures. Each one legitimate, each one irreversible. "You blindsided me," he whispered. "No," Evelyn corrected. "You blindsided yourself." Before Lucas could respond, Evelyn's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, then read the message out loud for everyone to hear. "It's from my attorney," she announced. "All documents have been forwarded to federal investigators. Financial Fraud Division." Lucas's knees visibly weakened. "Investigators? Evelyn, what did you—" "I didn't create the fraud," she said. "I just revealed it." The room erupted again, this time in pure chaos. Two of Lucas's partners stormed toward him, waving their phones. One of them barked, "Is this true? Lucas, did you falsify the numbers on the third quarter report?" Another shouted, "Tell me you didn't use our investment accounts for your personal transfers." Lucas stuttered, No, it's not what it looks like, she's twisting." Evelyn placed another sheet on the table. Rows of red marks, every fraudulent transaction highlighted with flawless precision. "Everything you see here," she said, "was pulled directly from the company server. I didn't twist anything. I just turned on the lights." A partner's phone rang loudly. He answered, listened for only a few seconds, then cursed under his breath. "The board is suspending operations. And the audit committee is demanding your immediate presence, Lucas." Another phone vibrated. Another partner turned pale. "They're pulling the merger deal," he whispered. "Our biggest contract gone." Lucas looked around, panicked. "You can't do this. Evelyn, you're destroying everything." But his phone rang next. When he answered, the room fell silent to hear the one-sided conversation. "What?" No, wait, please let's discuss." He swallowed hard. "You're canceling? Without negotiation? But we had a signed." He closed his eyes. "Please don't do this. I can explain." He couldn't, of course. There was nothing left to explain. He hung up slowly, hands shaking. They canceled the contract. Evelyn didn't flinch. The moment the board saw the flagged transactions, they reconsidered their partnership. No company wants to tie themselves to a sinking ship. Eleanor suddenly stood up, pointing a trembling finger at Evelyn. "You've ruined this family. You destroyed Lucas's career. You're tearing down everything we built." Evelyn turned to her with a quiet firmness that silenced the entire room. "No," she said. "Lucas ruined his own name. You helped him. You encouraged him. You manipulated him." Eleanor's voice cracked. "You should have protected him." "I did," Evelyn said, her tone sharp as broken glass. "For years. But protection ends when abuse begins. I'm not shielding corruption." Eleanor's mouth opened, but no words came out. Evelyn continued. "You call this ruin? Call it honesty. You're not angry about consequences. You're angry because your lies finally caught up to you." Lucas slammed his hand on the table. "Do you enjoy watching me fall apart?" Evelyn looked at him. Not with cruelty but with truth. "No, Lucas. I simply stopped falling with you." The weight of her words crushed whatever remaining ego he had left. Then Evelyn gathered her folder, slow, steady, controlled. "Everything that happened today was a result of your choices. Not mine." She paused, meeting Lucas's eyes for the last time. "You wanted a clean break. Instead you got the truth." And with that she turned away, leaving behind the man who thought he could destroy her. and the mother who believed Evelyn would quietly disappear. They were wrong. Evelyn wasn't disappearing. She was rising. The fallout didn't take weeks. Took days. Lucas was served with an official notice first. A federal investigator arrived at his office and handed him documents demanding his immediate appearance for questioning regarding financial misconduct, embezzlement, and fraudulent reporting. His co-workers watched as he staggered back into his office, trying to catch his breath. Evelyn didn't witness the scene. She didn't need to. The attorney texted her the moment it happened. "Your husband has been formally summoned." Evelyn read the message without satisfaction, without anger. Only closure. Lucas wasn't facing consequences because she sought revenge. He was facing them because he earned them. Sabrina's collapse came next. 2 days after the dinner party, she received a notice taped to her apartment door. Eviction for unpaid rent. Her landlord had already grown tired of the missed payments, the excuses, the promises that never materialized. The moment he learned she no longer had Evelyn supporting her financially, he stopped negotiating. By evening, all her belongings were stacked outside in plastic bags. Neighbors whispered. Someone filmed her crying as she begged the landlord for more time. But sympathy was a luxury she had long lost. She tried calling Lucas. He didn't answer. She tried calling Eleanor. No reply. She tried calling Evelyn. The call never connected. Evelyn had blocked her. Sabrina sat on the curb, sobbing into her hands, realizing too late that the woman she betrayed was the only person who ever truly helped her. Victoria's downfall hit differently. Her fiancé showed up at her family home, not with flowers but with a strained expression. He didn't sit. He didn't soften the blow. "My parents and I talked," he said stiffly. "Your family. There's too much chaos. Too much scandal." Victoria blinked, stunned. "Are you breaking up with me because of them? Because of Evelyn?" He shook his head. "No. Because every time something happens in your family, you dive into the drama instead of standing apart from it. I can't build a future in the middle of a storm you helped create." Then he placed the engagement ring in her palm. "I'm sorry," he said, though he didn't sound sorry at all. Victoria didn't shout, didn't chase him. She simply crumpled into a chair after he left, realizing the consequences of her own cruelty, particularly the moment she mocked Evelyn. Sometimes karma didn't need to be loud. Then came the call Evelyn never expected, Eleanor. Her voice trembled the moment Evelyn answered. "Evelyn, sweetheart. Please help us. Lucas is drowning. The investigators are digging deeper. The board is threatening legal action. Everything is falling apart." Evelyn remained silent, letting the desperation hang between them. Eleanor continued, her tone switching between pleading and panicked. "You're the only one who ever kept this family together. I know I treated you horribly, but please just talk to them. Say something. Tell them Lucas didn't mean to." Evelyn didn't let her finish. She pressed the phone closer and spoke with calm finality. "I'm not responsible for the mess you created. Evelyn, please." Evelyn ended the call mid-sentence. She didn't block the number. She didn't need to. Some doors didn't require locks, just closure. Lucas was the last to face her. He waited outside her attorney's office, shoulders slumped, eyes hollow. When Evelyn stepped out, he approached quietly, like a man walking toward his own verdict. "Evelyn," he said softly, "don't walk away. Please. Just hear me out." She didn't respond. He stepped closer. "I made a mistake. 1,000 mistakes. But what we had, it wasn't all fake. We had good years, didn't we?" Evelyn studied him. Not with love, not with anger, but with clarity. "We did," she said. "And you destroyed them." Lucas swallowed hard. "Just give me one more chance. I can fix this. I can be better. I can." "Lucas," she cut in, her voice firm but steady. "Opportunities don't come with infinite lives." He looked at her desperately. "Are you really walking away forever?" She met his eyes without a flicker of doubt. "Your second chance ended the day you betrayed me." The silence after her words was heavy, final. He reached for her arm, not forcefully, just hopelessly, but she stepped back. "No," she said. "You don't get to touch me anymore." Lucas collapsed into himself as if the strength left his body. Evelyn turned, straightened her shoulders, and walked away, slow, steady, confident. She didn't look back, not for a second. Because the final confrontation wasn't about him. It was about her. About reclaiming her power, her dignity, her future. And as she walked into the next chapter of her life, the truth was clear. She didn't win by fighting. She won by leaving.